I'm going to tag everyone now. This is so exciting. But welcome everybody who I'm sure is not quite here yet. But okay, I'm just going to actually tag.
Yeah.
Pairings reveal. Alright, I'm sure people get the gist, so we can probably maybe just give a bit of an introduction to the tournament ourselves. But welcome to RBY Invitational 5, my favorite Pokemon tournament on the planet. So much fun. I'm your host, Emma. With me is a special guest who's been here now for the third straight year doing the pairings reveal with myself, Invitational 1 champion Amaranth. Hello.
Hello.
And
Welcome, welcome.
we have our 32 participants on the screen. Notably the last three, Albie, Larry, and Alice, are our three planes victors from this year, while the previous 29 were directly invited. And we're gonna go to random.org. I'm gonna click roll be a random number, and we're gonna do some pairings, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we can just get started, and I'm so excited. Planes was a lot of fun this year with the three separate brackets. Especially the first week of Planes, you had so many games. I streamed a total of probably 6 hours worth of just RBY over the last 3 weeks, and I was like, this is it's just so much fun. You saw some pretty absurd moments throughout the tournaments, and I had so much
Yeah.
fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah, planes were really cool, and we got two relatively unexpected winners out of them. Um, so that was cool. We got Alice winning her bracket. She was seeded first in her bracket, but the other two had really cool runs already.
Yeah, Albie was the sixth ranked in the red bracket, while Larry, formerly known as LaRue, was the fourth ranked in the blue bracket. So definitely some upsets. They even in the final
Yeah.
rounds, they upset the 5 and 2 seed respectively. Uh,
hmm
so it was definitely really fun overall. I think we can get started. I'm gonna generate the number. It's gonna be great. So our first
Let's
one
go ahead.
is 27, who is Conflict. One of our
Okay. So conflict is his first invitational.
Yep.
I don't know if he was never invited or if he never accepted
He's
beforehand.
never been invited
Um,
before.
okay. Yeah, so he doesn't even really play World Cup, any of those tournaments. So he just shows up and wins classics sometimes. That's the conflict thing. So it seemed only fair to invite the classic winner to an old generation invitational, but yeah, we'll see if he's taking RBY in particular seriously enough to put on a serious challenge for this tournament. It's exciting to watch him.
Yeah, definitely one of the best Smogon players overall. I remember even this past SPL, definitely more so a GSC player, but swapped to ADV and just kept winning every single week
Yeah, yeah,
regardless.
yeah.
One classic as mentioned. So I'm really excited to see how he does in his debut. And his first matchup will be against number 11, who is Spies.
Oh, okay. So Spice is really interesting because he has this kind of lower activity, fades in and out. He came back, he won an RBY Cup, played an SPL, then went back out, then went back in, then he's a bit mercurial in that sense. But he's showed up again for the Boomer against Zoomer tournament, and he went 4-5 against Chuva. They played a best of nine.
No team
Was
repeats either.
Yes, no. It was such a cool set, and I mean, if you can go 4-5 with Chuva, you can beat anyone in this tournament with a bit more luck. So yeah, exciting. And two of the oldest players probably
Yeah.
playing.
And Spy's also he can't access his Smogon account for whatever reason, so I had to sign up for Boomer Super for him.
Oh,
And
okay. That's
luckily,
maybe that's why he
I think
doesn't show up too much.
I heard last year, I invited him last year, but he never responded. And then I heard he just couldn't access his Discord either. But I guess at least this year he seems
Amazing.
to at least be able to access Discord and play the tournament. But always exciting. Spies he went 6-3 in SPL one, SPL one, and then 10-ish years later he comes back, he wins Cup, disappears again. But he's here for Invitational. I'm really excited. Our next generate will be number 7, who is XCal, Invitational 2 champion.
Yep. Excal, like Spice, is another guy who plays very few tournaments, very sporadic, but when he shows up, he always has it.
Yeah.
Um,
This year is like probably the invitational he's most locked into RBY, coming off
yeah,
like RBY World Cup,
yeah,
and
for sure.
like he and ABR especially, like they had thousands of lines, like they were like really into it, and were like like
Mm,
a key pivotal
mm.
part of our victory in that tournament. So like he seems like like more excited than he's ever been for the tournament, and last
Yeah,
year like he did really well as well. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
He always does pretty well in invitationals. No, he has a really good record, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
and he'll be matching up against four, who is ABR. Oh my God, XCal ABR. That's freaking awesome.
oh, that's yeah. I mean, that's a really cool pairing, but kind of tough to that they face round one immediately. Uh, yeah, they mediate the Northeast team kill. Is there anyone else from Northeast? Yes, Marco P is playing, and this yeah, most of the lineup is playing. So the chances of at least one team kill were higher than you would expect, but still,
Yeah, like I
that's a
was
tough
just
one.
that's incredible. Like I was just saying, like both like super pivotal parts to our victory, like really like carried us honestly, like did really well, like obviously playing the games, but also like prepping and such. Like ABR is ABR. I'm sure everyone knows who he is, like best spoken player of all time and such. And it's like it's basically an RBY mater over the last what year and a
Yeah,
half at this
yeah,
point,
yeah.
which is really funny.
It has to be his main tier over the last year, which is it's really cool, yes. And something I think is really interesting about ABR is that he plays like no one else. Like the his team choices and his style in RBY is very unique.
I agree. Yeah.
In a community where most people as of late have just been looking at the Germans and copying and taking, let's not say copying, let's be kind and say that they're taking strong inspiration.
Yeah.
But ABR is just doing completely his own thing and very little in common with the styles that the Germans seem to think is what you should be playing. And ABR says no and has his own ideas. And as a student of the game, it's really fun to see and to just try to understand what's going on and how he makes everything work. Really, really cool player to watch.
Yeah, like when he played in SPL this year, I remember while prepping for him, I was like, he preps like a current gen like player, like not like your traditional RBY, which is really interesting, like how he approaches
Mm.
the game with such different experiences,
Mm.
and like he's done really well. Like he won circuit, uh,
Yeah,
and like he got like top 8ish like last invitational or something. Like did well, and like he's ABR, like he's gonna do well regardless.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
A super hype pairing. Oh my god, I love this tournament so much. I'm like a fangirl. So next up we have number 8, who is Pizane. Pizane? Peas? I'll just say
Yes,
Peas. French legend, I believe. Correct.
yes, correct. He was was regarded as the best player pretty unanimously between 2017 start of 2018. Before it was kind of after Marco started playing a bit less, and before Troller had his big breakout. Pisone was in that gap as the best player at that time.
Hasn't
Um,
yeah hasn't didn't play last year. Unsure if they played the year before either. But they're making their return. Like played an RBY World Cup as well. And like it's always exciting to see like these legends of the game. Like genuinely some of the best RBYers of all time. Like returning to play in like
mhm,
invitational.
mhm.
Part of what makes the tournament so great. And their
And
round one. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, the thing about Pisone is that actually his break wasn't that long, all things considered. Like he's a bit before my time, but basically he skipped a couple years and he's back. Like it wasn't that crazy of a break, so it's no surprise that he's really just right back in it.
Yeah,
And
hasn't
yeah.
played since Invitational 2. So the first time playing with me as the host. And his round one opponent will be 31 LaRousse Larry playing Victor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is kind of a boomer versus zoomer all over again because Larry is a fairly new. Well, obviously he's been around a long time, but specifically within RBY,
Yeah.
Larry's only really started to pick it up recently. So it will be very cool to see. And I was in. Obviously, we've been in doing Boomer versus Zoomer together. I'm with Pisone, and he's he constantly looks at all these new players and is just always in awe at how good they are. He has a lot of respect for the newer generations. Because yeah, that's the thing with players from like 2018 or so. As time goes on, you lose sharpness, and other people gain sharpness because
Mm-hmm.
they're playing more than you, and that almost everyone, unless you're one of the true like freaks of nature, like Troller or whoever, is just seemingly supernaturally sharp at all times. But for most other people, that tends to be something that happens, and Pisone very much seems to respect that fact from my interactions with him, and so he definitely will not be um, underrating his opponent here. He definitely will be. He's a player who is aware of his limitations, and that tends to be a good quality towards self improvement eventually. So yeah, I don't know. Very very interesting. I know Pisone will be taking it seriously. Larry is Larry is such a fascinating player because you see him every weekend queuing like 6 games within 2 hours. Like he joins so many tournaments, plays them all, wins most of them. He's a kind of a machine. Just really likes the game, and yeah, I'm sure he will do his due diligence as well. So
For some
um,
breaking news as well, Pease and Larry are apparently paired for global championship right now as well. So I guess
oh,
they'll be very
oh,
familiar
that's
with each
very
other.
cool. Yeah.
So that's really
Yeah.
funny. And like,
You always get into these weird mind games when you play someone multiple sets, because you see what the person just read for you like 1 week earlier, and so it gets you get an extra layer of mind games that it can be really cool.
man, Larry's run through the blue bracket. He was the 4 seed there, beat KJ Das, and then Torchic, then Not Very Cake, and then Ultinuba was his run to qualify, and his first ever planes as well. So definitely, like they're all super exciting, but like the fact that they're also paired for a global championship is like just hilarious, hilarious.
Yeah.
Next up, we have 22, who is Shiloh Roses,
Yes.
and so Shiloh Roses, like RBY Cup winner, SPL participant, one of the plays in all the tournaments as well. Not like in Invitational, like he had a really funny streak where like over the course of 2 invitationals and an SPL, he was like exactly 500. Like he went 2-2 invitational, two, like 5-5 SPL, 2-2 invitational as well. But didn't do too hot last year, unfortunately. But like he's Roses. Like he's won an RBY Cups, like started and played in SPLs, so I was excited to see. And he will be going up against number 15 Kenix.
Ooh, okay. Well, Penix, I mean, personally, having spent, I've shared a team chat with him, two Runes of Valve Premier Leagues in a row, and then one SPL, and we did pretty damn well throughout.
Yeah.
So it's a player I have definitely a connection with, in terms of play style and in terms of just understanding his approach to the game. And yeah, I don't know, he's so unique. He's very, I mean, one thing you can say about Kenix is that he doesn't have personality. Like he is so unique. He has, you can, many people have many different takes on Kenix, but he's absolutely um, such a unique person and such a unique player. So he's fun to watch, and yeah, you spoke about Sheila already. He's been around a really long time, and he's always capable of putting up good performances. So
Yeah, like Kenix, like he made his SPL debut like last year, like the most stacked pull of all time. Like he went 6-3. Like that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. No, I mean Kenix. I think between his ban and in general everything that was going on, I think Kenix kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people. But I do think he's easily like top player quality in both RBY and GSC. Like he is. It was not surprising to me at all that he had a good season, and I mean for 8k or 8.5k, I think was his SPL price. I think it was absolutely crazy because he's just, in my mind, is a top player. I think anyone who watches him at length, they would know that Kenix is a top player.
Yeah, for sure. Another like so exciting, and this is Kenix's first invitational as well. Him in conflict. Besides 2 of our 3 playing victors are making their invitational
Mm-hmm.
debut this year,
Mm-hmm.
so it's very exciting. Next up, we have. Okay, I already rolled four. Okay, this 19. Marco ASD the goat,
Oh, yep.
and he will be going up against 22. That's
Already rolled?
Moses. Just kidding. No, I gotta make sure I don't. Oh, okay. We already rolled that person.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
some point, we're gonna have to. I'll let you know when I get someone. Versus
Okay.
25 M Dragon.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so, well, okay, let's start from Marco. He is the grandfather of RBY. He is your favorite player's favorite player, almost certainly. I mean, it's just, what can you say about this guy? He was already a legend when I started playing, and he's only stuck around and kept getting more and more results on his level. I mean, he's just completely legendary. Like there is no one else with the same level of longevity and high level performances. And yeah, I mean, obviously as you get old, you have less time to play. He's not really been in SPLs. He's not been in every tournament so much. But yeah, I mean, he's just the best of all time. Like there's nothing else to say.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, like I remember there's like the one SPL player introductions, and like when they list like accomplishments, they're like for Marco, they're like literally just like too many to list, and like they had to take a
Yeah,
screenshot.
yeah.
Like he's the goat of this, like he's the Michael Jordan of RBY, and like it's always exciting. Like he comes back yearly for Invitational and World Cup, and it's always like it's so fun to see him come back and play, and he'll be going up against another like pretty old like boomer player, and M Dragon.
Yeah, M Dragon is a sort of a conflict style of player where you don't really see him play specifically RBY all too often. He was on the roster for World Cup but didn't play many games. I think maybe he played
I
in
think
quarters and
playoffs
semis.
only, yeah.
Yeah, still not too many showings. He's a busy man, but much like Conflict, is the kind of player who you can never confidently bet against because you never know. They might, if they decide to take that specific set seriously, they can really beat anybody in basically any tier they want. So,
Yeah,
uh,
like top 16 and top 6 and 16 finishes these last 2 years playing in the tour. Like countless like SPL, like former like Smoke on Tour winner, like one of the most accomplished players of all time. And it's like again, like I love seeing him Dragon play. He's like getting more involved recently, like in World Cup and such. But like this is like probably with alongside XCal and ABR, like this is already like a super like as ABR put it, like magma level like pairing so far.
yeah. I mean, I expect most of the pairings will be Magma,
Yeah.
but yes, fair enough.
Those are my two favorites so far. Next up, we have number 16 Soul Wind, another Spaniard, and he will be taking on number 30 Albie in his invitational debut coming off plans.
Okay, well, I'll be. Look, I was in. Obviously, I shared a team chat for RBY World Cup with Albi, which was one of his breakout tournaments in some ways. Obviously, this plains run is the best individual results he's had so far. But in any case, I know quite a bit about Albi, and from what I can tell, he learned a lot from the 1RB YPL where he was drafted by, I think it was a team with Shuva and Septros, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And so he has kind of his two mentors, his father figures. They're not he's not down from the Italian line of RBYers. He's not one of Marco's disciples, which is a bit unique, but we definitely made it work. We had some different ideas, but I think he took away some helpful ideas from our time in RBY World Cup as well. And he said when I spoke to him after I pinged him and I spoke to him briefly after he qualified from play-ins, and he said he wasn't even actually prepping very hard for play-ins. He was just kind of playing, and apparently this is just his level now. He's good enough to beat really solid players pretty consistently, and that's good to see because you always love to see. I mean, at least me personally, I always love to see new players who
Yeah.
start to really figure it out and really step up. And so, well, Solwind is definitely someone who will test him. There's not much that needs to be said about Solwind because everybody already knows Solwind. I have a very personal, very painful memory. I think I got him round one of RBY Cup in 2021 or
That's
something like that,
that's tough.
and I got absolutely slaughtered. It was one of that defeat really really sat with me for some time. Um, I mean, yeah, that can always happen to you when you're playing against Solwyn. He's a little good.
Yeah, like again, like alongside ABR, like one of the best like smoke players of all time at this point. Has only played in one invitational previously, which was 2 years ago, where he went 1-2. But also, like it doesn't matter. Like he's Solent, he's gonna show up. Like he's gonna win games in any tier. I played with him in SCL a couple years ago. Like it was like he was like playing Ubers, UU, RU. Like doesn't matter. Like he's Solent. Super exciting to see. And it's like funny. Like last year, I remember like Nicole after making her way through play-ins, like first matchup, like Marco ASD, like Marco the goat, and then Albie makes his way through, and like first opponent Solent, like one of probably the most terrifying people you could play. And
Yeah.
so Albie's playing run was the 6th seed in the red bracket, beat Girls See Ghost into 48 into Vileman and then into Gorgie. So like a pretty like
Yes.
tough run as well.
Hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how he does in his debut. Next up, we have Nicole, just as I mentioned her, Nicole 7735, of course,
Yes.
and she will be going up against number 5 Kaz.
Okay. Okay. So Kaz and Nicole, I think they are some of the. This is exciting because these two are some of the more. They generally try to push the metagame
Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
That's the thing with both of them. I think Nicole definitely has a very grounded approach about there are a lot of things like it's not quite Cud's level. Cud will if he experiments with I don't know triple electric and somehow it works for him, he will bring it to a tournament. He has no fear. Nicole is a little bit more grounded, but still quite actively trying to figure out improvements and edges against the metagame at all times. So it will be fun to see how they pair against each other because those types of players who tend to favor counter styling a lot, when you're not playing against normal players, it's kind of difficult to
yeah.
readjust
Let me
because
let me tell you about it. But like I
the,
super agree with like what you're saying. Like these people are like constantly playing, like pushing the metagame forward. Definitely like the forefront of that, and like it's so exciting to see like those two paired up, especially round one. And like I can definitely say like when I would play or like when Nails would play like you or Chuva in SPL, like I fucking hated it. I was like, this sucks. Like this sucks. Like the mind games and how you approach it is just like way different than anybody else. So this is like another really exciting pairing for me. So like I like just incredibly excited, just like I am with every single pairing. I love this tour so much. Oh my god.
Yeah, there is definitely another layer of prep when you know that somebody will go specifically to target your usage. Because then you have to try to reverse engineer, like, okay, you have to look at your own usage and figure out what even is in here and what will other people see, and you have to try to like. There's just so many more layers of
Yeah.
prep when both players are go to such a deep level. But with cards especially, maybe he just tried Taurus Lesson Ladder and had a fun time and he will bring it. So it's like completely unpredictable. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. I like those players both quite a bit. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm very excited as always. Next up, we have I gotta keep rolling. This sucks. Number 9, Felix, our defending champion. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce what his actual username is, but our
Yeah,
defending champion,
it's fine.
yeah, will be going up against 26 Mako.
Mako. Okay. Okay. So Mako is a really interesting player because she's not really been playing RBY as much. Like there was a time where she was really active in the tier, but lately she's been kind of out of it. For a while, she said she wasn't really feeling RBY. wasn't liking it anymore, but she accepted the invitation, so evidently she's at least some of the way back. And in the meantime, she's not been just doing nothing. She's been playing other tiers. She's in the quarterfinals with Team Chile in World Cup, like the main one.
Yeah.
So definitely a quality player all around, and I actually think, honestly, I think she might be just better than she was when she was playing SPLs today. And the reason I say that is that I think she was somewhat rushed into SPLs. She was playing when she was not, I think, super ready or super developed, and she still had solid results, decent results. But I think now with a couple more years, at least judging by the gameplay I see in other tiers, I think Mako has really developed into a good, great all-around player. And so it's exciting to see if she will be back to RBY with a bit more focus, what she can do. But on paper, obviously, definitely an underdog against Felix, but that's kind of inevitable. He's
Yeah.
the defending champion.
Yeah, Felix like in his first invitational last year, like 6-0 undefeated to victory. Another six. He picked up another 6 wins in SPL this past year again, in like the hardest pool we've like probably ever seen. Like I think now it's like 12-6 over in this past years in SPL, which is just like incredible. And like has been like a dominant RBY over these last few years, and like is like along with like Serpy and the other Germans has been really pushing forward a lot of things. And yeah, Mako like didn't play RBY in SPL this year, but then she went and played ADV, and I think she did fairly well there. And like as you mentioned, is like now playing Scarlet and Violet OU in the real World Cup. So she's been around, definitely like less in RBY, but like she's agreed to play this year, and has like always done well in this tournament. Top 12, 16, and then top 12 again finishes. So never without at least 2 wins so far. So like just like always, like I'm really excited to see like how she approaches her return to RBY, especially against like someone as quality as Felix.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up, we're gonna get number 12, Bihi, my goat. Won me a trophy. Shoutouts to him. And we'll be going up against number 13, Septros.
Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Bihi, well, obviously Bihi is legendary on Smogon because he won all 3 team tournaments in the same year.
Yeah.
One of very, very few people to ever achieve that. And he did this, what was it, 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
Yes, because it was France, and
Yeah,
then
he
last year.
Team Raiders with me, and then Team France, and then the Dynamos with me again.
Right. Yeah, 2022. So honestly, since that year, I've seen less of him in general, both playing and also like socially as a presence. I've seen him around a bit less. I'm not sure if he's actually less interested or just, yeah, I don't know. I haven't been able to watch him too much, so I don't have a good sense of where he is right now. So I can't really. It's sad for me to predict how B is going to do in this tournament because I don't have much data. But as for Septros, he's very active. He got like 6th place last invitational, didn't he? Or no, better. He was
yeah,
like top 3 or
he
something.
finished 4th last year.
4th, okay. Yeah, I remember he had a really deep run. And yeah, I mean, it was really interesting to see because he had a crazy unbalanced scout with a ton of Zapdos. And somehow it was working. So he had a really good, very specific meta read to the players he was playing at the time, and clearly it worked very well for him. But it has to be said, Septros, throughout his career, he has struggled to get wins against the top players consistently. And his last invitational run was really the first time that we saw him string together like a ton of good wins against good players. And so it's interesting to see if he can do that again, if he can get a read of that same quality on this meta game 1 year later. Because obviously, I doubt people will let him get away with 50% Zapdos again.
Yeah, like I remember like he played Chuva, I think in maybe like in his top four match, and like it was a best of five, and I think there was like 8 total Zapdos out of like the 10 teams brought, and I was like what the fuck's going on? But like that was
That's
really exciting.
that's
Um,
some good RBY.
has the second most wins ever in Invitational, the only player to play in all four editions and never finish in the bottom half, top 12, third, top 16, and fourth in his runs this so far. So like he always shows up. And like you said, like Behe, like I gotta just like mention again, like in the 2022 SBL, he subbed into RBY for both tiebreaker sets in playoffs, and then beat Chuva and Troller in
Yeah.
back-to-back sets. So, I just like can't get over it. So I was on that team. Like just the absurdity of that. Like
Yeah.
generally like one of the most I can't get over it. But you're right. Like definitely not been like super involved like in any facets of Smogon. I feel like. But like I know he's captaining Team France. Always shows up to play like with an RBY World Cup for Team France. So like it's just like another banger pairing. I'm very excited as always.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna redo these numbers. I'm just making sure I have them correct.
Sure.
All right, cool. So we're gonna so I don't just keep rolling. So we're gonna drop down. I gotta redo some of these numbers. But so far left we have you, Serpy,
Yes.
Chuva, Laro, Barkop, Narwhal, Nails, Seatown, Roro, Isa, Enigami, Quolicancy, Blazing Dark, and Alice are our remaining participants. Oh, I messed up the
This is
numbers. This sucks. Go ahead.
it's a fun group. I think it's like me, Nails, and a lot of newer players. Well, me, Nails, and Igami, I guess. And I guess Alice can also be considered old at this point.
So our 14 remaining participants, we're gonna roll that way. First up is Isa,
Cool.
and he is going to be playing. Oh man, he rolled the same number. He'll be going up against McMegan.
Mac Megan against Isa. Okay. Cool. So Isa, I was watching him. I scouted Isa pretty deep for RBY World Cup, and I noticed some quirks in his playing style that I am not going to leak for his benefit, and also because I haven't updated my scout since. Like it was quite a bit of data, but then I watched some newer games and he wasn't doing that stuff anymore. So I don't know. But I had a feeling from watching his games that he had some, like, not every element of his game was thought out. There was a lot of stuff that looked just, I don't know. It didn't look too studied to me, which makes sense. And I think a lot of players do it, but with Ice I saw like some of the stuff he was doing in opening lines, it wasn't really convincing to me. But then we lost to Northeast, so didn't matter. But I do think actually, like in the replays I've seen after that scouting, I did see him get a little better, or at least clean up the things that I thought were exploitable about him. And so I don't know. I don't know what to expect because I think he was already good and he's gotten a little bit better. I have no doubt that everyone in Northeast has benefited from being able to share and practice with each other. And so I am a little uncertain on Isa's level. I think it's possible that this will be one of his best tournaments yet. Whereas with Roro, I mean, he's one of those players. It's like Conflict or M Dragon. He's one of those guys who've been around forever, plays everything, can beat you in everything. It just kind of depends on how much time he has to dedicate and how focused he is on the specific tournament. Because if Roro chooses to be focused, he can definitely get another really deep run. He was sixth place last year.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah, like he's McMegan. Like he's one of like the best players of all time. And like finished top 6 in his last year, and like even top 16. He's actually gone upward every time. Top 24 into top 16 into top 6, and already like has 8 invitational wins, which is like a lot. It's like top 10. So definitely like he's McMegan. And I think Isa, I think he's probably like a low floor, high ceiling ish, like not the most consistent. I will say like he's had some like pretty like really high peaks as an RBY. Like he's beating nails in Serpy and SPL. Like some clutch
Mhm.
wins against Team Germany last year, 2-0 in playoffs this World Cup, and I think like when he really does focus, like he is a very good player. Like I remember telling him like he in his RBY World Cup Finals match, like he played lead Zapdos 3 times, and I like he is like we had never seen that before. We had never talked about it, and I was impressed at how he was able to slow down and really think through it. I agree he's not the most polished, but like I guess like the potential really is there. I really love Isa, of course, like a good
Mhm.
friend as
Mhm.
well. So I'm
I
excited
mean,
to see.
it's also possible that I was looking at replays that were maybe less important, like group stage games or maybe like seasonal games, and in when when it matters, when it's playoffs or when it's invitational, that he preps a bit harder and cleans up a lot. That's also possible. There are definitely some players who have that kind of style. So yeah, exciting to watch. Is yeah, because like I said, I'm not sure if this is going to be his best tournament yet. I think there are good chances.
Next up, we have Chuva, our finished second place last year, and he
Yeah.
will be going up against number two Serpy. Oh my god!
Ooh. Okay. Well, this pairing is great for me because I don't have to play either one in round one. This pairing is. I love this pairing, man. That's so good. I don't have to play either one.
I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, what to say? I mean, those guys are longest time practice partners, and yeah, Kat immediately said, "Is this finals already?" Yeah,
Yeah.
like it really could be. Like, um, Thurpy has been I think it's fair to say across all the circuit tournaments and everything, the most dominant player in terms of numbers of results over the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
for sure.
Like if Smogon had as many tournaments as Pokemon Perfect used to have, then Surface Trophy Cabinet would start looking somewhat like Marco's Trophy Cabinet. Because I mean, the reason why Marco's Trophy Cabinet is so big is he's been around forever, and he was around in a period where a ton of tournaments were played. And Serpy doesn't have that luxury, but in the smaller number of tournaments, he shows up a lot and he wins a lot. So Serpy is just probably like it's hard to comment on like the level of the players, but I think if you judge the results exclusively, he might be the best players of the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Like ever since like SPL 12, like if we're talking about the Emma era of RBY, which begins at SPL 12, like I think like
mhm,
Serpy, like easily the most accomplished, like probably the best player, like over these last 4 years, and like Chuva's probably right behind him, like at number two, and like this is just like an absurd pairing, like both players with like incredible SPL Invitational like circuit, ladder, World Cup, Premier League success. Like this is like got to be the highlight of Red One.
mhm,
Like these are two
mhm.
players
Yeah,
probably
yeah, yeah, yeah.
most people would pick to win the whole tournament.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are many, many players who are good, but those two are especially good. It's one of the most magma of all the magma pairings that we are having.
No, truly. Like Serpy is like another like he picked up like I think another 6 wins this past SPL too. I think Chuva's also like had
Mhm,
4 or 5.
mhm.
Like Chuva like got second place invitational last year. Like Serpy just won winter seasonal and ladder tournament this year. Like I could go on and on about both these players and like just gas them up. But like everyone knows, everyone who's listening knows, like this is
Yeah,
an absurd pairing, truthfully.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But oh man, so like this tournament's great. Like I'm so excited. Next up we are gonna get number 5, who's going to be Nails, and he is going to go up against number 9, who is Blazing Dark.
Okay, okay. So this is okay. I will say this right off the gate. I think this is probably the weakest pairing yet. I I am friends with both of these players. I like them a lot. I think at their prime, they are fantastic when they're like locked in. The problem is I don't know that either of them is locked in with RBY right now. Nails, obviously, he's a legend of the tier. He was probably, I think there was an era of at least a couple years where it was Troller number one, and then me and Nails number two and three.
Yep.
And we got to share that. We got to work together a lot and against each other, and it was just a really good time. I have complete respect for Nails. But much like me, he's also a little washed now, and it really depends on, does he have time to take this tournament seriously? Does he have help from other people to put up a good performance in this tournament, or is it just showing up and loading teams that he likes? Because if it's the latter, he will still probably win a few sets, but he's not going to be a serious threat. And we'll just have to see how it works out for Nails in practice. And with regards to Blazing Dark, I think he is one of those players who is just, he somehow translates his skills from one tier to the other extremely easily. But he just doesn't have the hours in RBY that basically everyone else in this tournament does. So he's really, really talented, but without a certain amount of deep understanding of the specific metagame at this specific moment in time, you're not going to make it in Invitational, because everyone is really squeezing every last possible edge from the matchups, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like I agree with both. Like I've played with Nails in the last two SPLs, and like he's just like limited, and I guess in how much effort he's willing to like put in RBY and how much he wants to advance his game. Because like you were right, like there was a few errors where he would show up with like Jinx, Starmie, Jolteon, and just win 6+ times in SPL every single year. But like the player base has really gone a lot better. They've adapted. Like you've seen like the Chuvas, the Serpies come in, and it's just a different RBY at this point. And like you just can't really get away with that at this point. Like no matter how good Nails is as a player, like he can't get away loading up the same things. And he's just like been, I guess, not interested in reinventing himself. Like a lot more focus on like VGC and other tiers and such, which just like is how it is. Like Nails is an incredible player, but without like that added effort and adaptability in RBY, like you are not going to be able to like win this tournament, win 6 times in SPL and such. So like it's always the question like what Nails is going to show up. Like is he going to be enticed by like the like absurd prize pool that we have this year, by like his less than ideal performance in SPL, or is he just going to show up? He's just going to load up his Jinx, and we're going to see what happens. It's just always the question to see. But of course, like I like you, like I respect like Nails is probably I'm going to say Nails is the best Pokemon player I've ever met in person in my life, and like had the pleasure of teaming with. But we're just going to see what Nails shows up in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And some breaking news as well before we get to the next pairing. Unless you have anything else you want to say about this.
No, go ahead.
Is allegedly Chuva and Serpy are going to best of 9 for their round 1 set. It seems, which I'm like, I just sent back like the approved emoji. Like I want to see that fucking best of 9. That's
Let's
incredible.
go.
So our next pairing, we are gonna have number 3, who is Markop.
Okay.
Back for Invitational after sitting out last year, and he is going to be playing you. LOL.
Me?
Yes.
Really? I was looking at this list and thinking to myself, anyone but him.
Well, there you go.
I think he's the best player left other than me. So that sucks. I mean, he's fine. He is. I can beat him. Actually, we played in RBY World Cup already.
Yeah, we have a rematch there.
It was 2-1. I don't remember if he got me or I got him. It was really close. I think he got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got me in the end. But it was such a close set, and I remember walking away feeling like I really had no regrets. Like I felt like I played really well, and just sometimes the game doesn't go your way, even when you make very few mistakes. But yeah, he's a really scary player. In World Cup, it was especially scary because I had no information on him. So it was kind of just blind guessing at what he would end up bringing, and Yeah, I'm a player who likes to prep. I'm a player who relies a lot on finding edges in the usages of my opponent. I like to do that quite a lot, and I think it's one of the best parts of my game. And so playing against someone with less replays is always scary for me, and especially when it's someone like Marco, who even without many replays, you know that he's still really good.
Yeah, like
Um, and yeah, I will have to refresh my data. I will have to check like can I find some weaknesses in his style now? Like as he played, with more RBY World Cup games, can I find something? But in any case, it will be a really tough game.
yeah, like Marcotte.
And
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no. I've been talking for 5 minutes. You can talk.
Yeah, like Mark Hop is again like a really good overall Smogon player. Like so many sheet wins, like and such, but as not like too much dipped into RBY. But when he does, like he usually does win. Like a few years ago in his, I gotta search him up on the sheet actually, but like he has like, oh yeah, like his first two invitational performances were top 16 and top 6. Like he shows up in RBY World Cup and like he beats you other players and such, and like he shows up and wins games. Like it was a really funny dynamic. Like Mark Hop, he would schedule for like he played a game on like a Wednesday, and then like we'd all be rushing to like give him what teams to play. But I really loved it. Like we would just give him the teams, and he'd be like, "Sounds good," and then he would win, and it was a great dynamic. And then of course like I have to gas you up as well. Like one of the best like RBYers like of all time at this point. It's like invitational champion, like 6-7 win SPL seasons, global championship. Like so, I'm really excited again. You have tied for the fourth most invitational victors as well, so congratulations.
Thank you.
But another very
Thanks.
exciting pairing. I like to see how you're gonna approach it against Markop, like you said, is someone who doesn't really have like an RBY scout, truthfully, at least not as much as the other people.
Yeah, definitely a smaller one. It still exists, but a smaller one. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I'm already thinking about what kind of prep I want to I want to make against him. But yeah, I don't know. As for myself, I've talked a lot about him. I've said nothing about myself. I feel like this 2024 has been my best WY I've played since 2021. Because I had a couple of bad years where I wasn't really trying. I was just coasting off of past effort and not putting in any new effort. And it definitely showed in my results. I had loss after loss after loss. Obviously, the results I have, many people would, the average player, the average circuit player would probably be happy with my results, but it definitely wasn't good enough for me, and it definitely, I think, objectively, it wasn't impressing anybody too much. And but I feel like these last few months I've found some drive again to try and get back to my level, and we'll see if Invitational is the tournament where I can do that. I'm excited.
Yes, always exciting. Next up, we're gonna have Sadistic Narwhal, and he is going to be playing Laro Axel.
Laroxel.
Laraxel, yes.
Yes. Narwhal Laroxel. Okay, is this I don't remember if this is also World Cup. I think maybe not.
No, because I played Laro.
Oh, yeah, you play them, yes. Okay, well, okay, so Laraxel, it was kind of a shock last year to us, or to me at least. Well, I think just
Everybody
about everyone
probably,
was
yeah.
shocked. But yeah, we just brought him in World Cup, and he had a good performance, like we knew he was capable of. But then he went off in the Invitational. He got third place.
Yep.
He had the support of, it was mostly Marco, but they were doing it in our team chat after the World Cup was over, so I was able to chip in now and again. And yeah, we really put together some wins there. 4 wins against 4 great players, and yeah,
Yeah.
he's one of those players who is just, he's also like little cup main, plays SV, plays World Cup, plays everything. Because well, he's only like made a breakout on Smogon for in the last year or two, but he has been around a long time in the Italian communities. I've known him, and so he's really similar to me in that sense, in that he's been around, like, just kind of being around competitive Pokemon for, like, I don't know, 10 years more, and yeah, he's had the big breakout recently, but he's definitely a flexible player, and he adapted to RBY really quick, and he can definitely repeat last year's performance if he locks in the same way. So exciting to see. And Norwell, on the other end, you can take it since you were his teammate.
Yeah, so just quickly, Laro last year, including play-ins, he won 8 straight sets to get to third.
Yeah.
And in Invitational, he's like you mentioned, he runs for Bihi, Nails, ABR, and Chuva. Like, that's like pretty fucking absurd. So pretty absurd run. But on Narwhal, I think like he is a very, very, very strong player. And like he shows up and wins all the time. Like I think he's has like over the last 2 years in RBY World Cup at least, like he has like 10, 11 wins combined. Like I think he's like 5-1, 6-1 over the last 2 years. Obviously a major part of our victory. And like I think he's an incredibly strong player. Every time I captain like Runes of Elf Premier or Runes of Elf World Cup. Like I like instantly bring in Narwhal as my RBY starter for US Northeast. Like I think he is like probably the best player in our region. And I think now we've won like 3 or 4 like team tours together at this point. But like I love him. I think he's like an incredibly strong player, and he's like he has like great results as well. Like ever since like his less than ideal SPL, like now like 4 years ago, like he's won
Yeah.
global championship. He's qualified for circuits. Like he's done well in invitational. RBY World Cup and everything. So, like, yeah, his invitational performances are top 12, top 32. We'll ignore that one for now, and then top 8. So, like, that's pretty impressive. Like 6 overall wins. And so, I'm really just really high on Narwhal, and like, I'm always rooting for him to do well.
hmm Yeah. I mean, he that one bad SPL kind of marked him in a lot of people's eyes, but he has worked his way back. Like, he has restored his reputation, and he is definitely uh, one of the higher, like, one of the people who is most well regarded, I think, overall. Uh, like, anyone who plays him has to respect him. You can't look at one bad result like 4 years ago and make any conclusions off of it.
Yeah, like
Um,
he beat Kaz and Lush last year, notably in Invitational. Like I'm just always rooting for him to succeed, and like he's just
mm,
such a strong player, and I'm really excited to
mm,
see how this goes down. And so we have 4 players left, 2 matchups. So let's see. Our first will be Quola,
yes.
and they will be going up against Alice.
Okay. Yeah, this is a fun one because it's two players who have kind of been away from RBY for like a bit. Like, obviously, this is the only really Koala's main tier. He doesn't really play too much else that I know of, but even still, like, activity-wise, he sort of has been down compared to. I think both of their last SPLs were a couple of years ago at this point in
Yeah.
RBY. And so it's interesting to see. Alice seems to be uh, like fully back, like actually like trying again in this metagame. So it will be interesting to see how she does. Obviously, she made it through the playing bracket, which was a good starting point. Will be interesting to see if she can get, because she was playing SPL and getting decent results. She was never one of the big favorites to do well in SPL, but she got there, which is definitely a result in itself. And oh, okay, you just they're starting for Boomer Zoomer, sure.
I know they could have
Um,
just wait for us to be done, but go ahead. Sorry.
no, no, no. I mean, Alice is back. Well, it will be fun to see if she can reach either the heights of a couple of years ago or even higher, because she was never like truly at the top. So who knows what the ceiling is? Because after a break, you anything can happen. So yeah, we're very excited to see more. And
Yeah.
as for Koala, he also made it to SPL. He had a few games, I think won three. It wasn't anything crazy, but again, the fact that you make it to SPL is a victory in itself. And and yeah, I mean, I think he's a high potential player, and if he's around and taking the game seriously, he can definitely take this game and definitely have a deep run. Like you can't rule anyone out, and even players like that who you haven't seen around in a little bit, you have to treat them with respect in a tournament like this.
Yeah, and Alice, like she played in the last three editions of RBY Invitational, but like unfortunately had to fight her way through planes this year, and she did just that. Like she was the number one seed in her bracket, and she was the only
Mm.
number one seed to advance, and so it definitely seems like she's like very much back so interested in RBY, and so that's always good. And she proved that she's like it deserves to be here after going through play-ins, and it now marks like her fourth straight invitational, and like she's 5-6 overall, like top 16, top 12, and top 24 finishes, nothing to scoff at. Like has like started seasons in RBY and SPL, so I'm glad she's back in the main event because I think she definitely deserves it, and her just for context, her play and run was Ty Carter, Gasly's, Tarvold, and then King Bilu. And so our last matchup will be Seatown 6 versus Enigami.
Yes, this is a cool matchup. Those players I think are both really fun to watch. Some people swear by Citon being near SPL level. I am not sure in the sense that I've never seen him. Um, I've never seen him that have that one big tournament run that convinces me that like, okay, this guy when he's serious, he can consistently beat top players. I've never seen that from him. I've seen a lot of good games, but not like the big, like impressive, like really complete pop of performance from Citan. Um, and so, but I think uh, people who have gassed Seatown, they're correct in saying that he has the potential because he is one of those players with insanely good instincts. I don't think he's even that much of a hard worker. He just kind of shows up and clicks good buttons and he makes it work. And yeah, I think he's I don't know. It could be a breakout tournament. Last year he was already 9th to 12th, which was good, but not a top finish. And yeah, fun to see how he does. He definitely got a decent round one with Enigami. I think at least a few people would rate him the weakest of the 32 if we asked if we went around polling. But he's definitely no slouch. It just kind of has a tendency to sometimes load Arbok a bit too much and stuff like that. But um, he's definitely not a weak player. Nobody here is a weak player, and so um, if he's playing seriously, this could definitely go either way. It's really hard to say. So
The Enigami, and I believe is now one of 4 or 5 players to have played in every single edition of this tournament,
yeah,
is
yeah,
7-8 overall. Marked by most notably top 6 finish in edition 1 and top 12 finish 2 years ago in 3, and then top 32 and top 24 finishes in the other 2 games. You are right, it is always fascinating to see what Enigami is going to bring, like if it is going to be Arbok and Dragonair. Like I think like literally like an hour ago he posted a picture of Dratini in the chat, so like who fucking knows what's going on. And I feel like C Town is like in that group of like on the cuffs of SPL, like always potentially like to be drafted, but hasn't quite got there yet. I was actually thinking, I was
yeah,
like, oh, like what's C Town actually done in the last like year? But like he's won Rising Stars, and he got second in
yeah,
summer seasonal and
yeah, yeah,
such. So like he's still like churning out those good results, and like top 12 finish last year is obviously really good. So I was like, oh, actually he's just like he keeps winning, even though maybe I haven't noticed it. Uh, and so I posted all of our matchups in the chat. What is your single most exciting matchup in round one?
I mean, it is Sorpishuva, though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
every other
yeah,
answer is wrong.
yeah. You're right. All right. Besides Chuva Serpy, what is your next favorite?
uh, let's see. Excalibur. I think that's also the objective second
Yeah,
place.
I'd agree for sure.
And then we have a lot of good games that can contend for third. Um,
I like Marco M Dragon a lot. Nicole Kaz as
mm,
well. You Markop. Like obviously they're all like super exciting. Like how's Conflict gonna do? Like is
yeah,
like
conflict spice I think is what I'm really looking forward to. It's just cause we don't know too much because they don't play too much of RBY.
like Behe
It's fun.
Septros. Like it's RBY Invitational. Like all these matchups are so
Yeah.
exciting. But I'm of course very excited for the fifth edition of this tournament, third that I have hosted. Like it's just my favorite. Seeing like so many great players and storylines. It's just really exciting. But thank you so much for joining me for another third consecutive
Of course.
year to reveal pairings. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me, and yeah, let's have a good tournament.
All right,
It's going to be fun.
I encourage everyone to log on to Spock Tours as Marco and Felix are playing their Boomer Super Tiebreaker match right now.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next time for more content. Bye.
Bye.